4 lessons from 4 years in retirement from everybody's favorite retirement blogger, Fritz Gilbert, over at theretirementmanifesto.com. I actually invited Fritz. I say, hey, man, I'm going to do a video on this article you posted, so if you get a chance, put some comments in there. So hopefully he does. But if you're not following Fritz, you're wrong, man, because this guy just kicks ass, dude. Love Fritz. If it wasn't for Fritz and It's Better to Have Jackie, we would not have that guy right there. And that guy right there with Pablo literally bring a smile to my face a million times a day. Not a million times literally, but you get it. Well, maybe, because if I'm smiling, maybe that's helping you smile. It's helping somebody else smile. Exponential smiles, which is actually very interesting in regard to Fritz's article here. We're going to try to get together another live stream up there. I'm going to try to go up to Blue Ridge, probably in the fall, because Blue Ridge in the fall is fantastic. Not quite like Maine in the fall, but then Blue Ridge in the winter is a hell of a lot more fantastic than Maine in the winter, if that makes sense. So, anyway. We're working on that. So this is such a fantastic article. This is why Fritz kicks ass, because he sees it differently than I think a lot of bloggers, financial bloggers do. All right. On June 28th, 2018, I stopped working. On that day, I crossed the starting line and entered an exciting new phase of my life. The retirement mystery has been solved. It's no longer a curiosity. It is now my reality. And what are the biggest 4 lessons I've learned? And I'm going to answer that today, he says. I'm glad I've been capturing my thoughts as my retirement has evolved. It's been interesting to see how my perspective has changed, 100%. Looking back, the sense of newfound freedom was certainly the highlight of early retirement. After decades of grinding it out at work, the handcuffs have been unlocked, and it was an amazing feeling. But I don't think that's one of the biggest lessons from retirement. It is rather simply a reality. Life without work. Reality, whether you want it or not. In my 4th year of retirement, the bigger question is, what new insights have I gained? Whereas freedom is a physical reality and fluidity is the flow of life. Whoa, great wordsmithing there. Where freedom is a physical reality, i.e. the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. And fluidity is a flow of life. How are you going to change as the situations and circumstances change? Great. My thoughts wander to more philosophical answers as I ponder my biggest lessons from retirement. Lesson number 1, retirement is what you make of it. I remember 2 relocations, in particular from the 10 relocations we have done. One we weren't excited about, when we were forced to relocate, and predictably enough, we did not enjoy our 2 years in that location. Compare that to the next relocation when we were excited about it, and predictably enough, we enjoyed that. We loved our time there, and we learned an important lesson. From that point on, every time we relocated, we decided to be positive about the move. We couldn't stop the change from happening, so we decided to look for the good and be intentional in avoiding the thoughts of the bad. Well, I could not agree with that. Fortunately, we applied that to retirement as well. We intentionally decided in advance that we're going to enjoy this new phase of our lives. Did we have anxiety? Of course, but we chose to focus on the positives. And we embraced it. Anxieties were bad, so we limited our mental time to the practical realities of what we could do to offset the risk. Exercise more, keep some cash. This is fantastic. We spent the majority of time getting excited about the positives, about what our lives could become. And he says it right here. He goes, you're going to find what you're looking for. If you're looking for negative stuff, you're going to find it. If you're looking for positive stuff, you're going to find it. I just want to share with you, because right now I'm reading a lot about the pending winter. And I'm nervous, man. Nervous. Because it's not about anymore, we're going to replace our energy with green. It's not about that. It's the Occam's razor. At some point, the obvious is the simplest, and the simplest is that the governments and the globalists want us to consume less and have less people. That's just a fact. Yeah, you can't stop with this. We're going to replace. It's not about replacing our consumption. It's about reducing consumption, reducing the population. And so once you accept that reality for what, frankly, it is, you got to say, okay, what can I do to make that affect me less? And one of the less ways you can do is say, okay, I'll be prepared for the things I can control. Maybe keep a couple extra, 20 gallon or whatever, 20-pound propane, Blue Rhinos. You know what I'm saying? Maybe get some inverters, some batteries, some solar panels, all that. I get all that. But then just say I can't control what the globalists do. I'm still going to have my kids. I'm still going to raise my family. I'm still going to eat healthy. You see what I'm saying? Still going to go for an exercise. I'm still going to laugh at my dogs. I'm still going to go into this new reality excited to see what the future holds, as opposed to, oh my goodness, they're all going to get us. They're out to hurt me. I think, because I'm looking at Germany right now and said, this place is a basket case. Do they not see? And you can sit there and focus like, oh my goodness, they're going to get me. Or you say, I'm not going to focus on that because I can't control that. All right, I completely agree. Number 2, your life has a purpose. Your job is to find it. I hate to break it to you, but work doesn't stop when you retire. Quite the contrary. When I was the first 1 to 2 years of retirement can be fulfilling simply by relaxing. The reality is that it gets old after a while. I completely agree. Based on my experience and others I've talked to, you'll know the feeling when that time comes. It happened to this guy some 6 to 18 months after retirement. You feel yourself being a bit adrift and bored, 100%. I believe that's by design. Each of us is meant to make a difference in our own way, perhaps even to make people cry. And then she started to cry. Oof. What a good headline there, man. And then she started to cry. That makes you want to click to see what she talked about, or he's talking about. We have intrinsic need to be doing something that matters, and only you can determine that. And I'll warn you, it takes a lot of work. I completely agree. I strongly encourage you to listen. Listen. And when you start hearing that quiet voice, God talking to you through your antenna, your brain is an antenna to God's realm. And God communicates, in my opinion, through the Holy Spirit, through that antenna in your brain, into your heart. If you're distracted and too much noise, as C.S. Lewis says, Satan loves noise. You don't hear that. You don't hear that communication. I strongly encourage you to listen when you start hearing that quiet voice. Dedicated your time to discovering your purpose is the best use of your time in retirement. I could not agree. I just 100%. Don't be surprised if the something you find only lasts a few years. I've discovered that my own retirement is one of the reasons I'm writing less. Enjoy the flexibility of moving between things that bring you a sense of purpose, and you'll never stop seeking out new opportunities. Your purpose will evolve, but it gets easier to find as you spend more time seeking it. 100%. In fact, it's interesting because I got books. Here's Albert and Relativity Land. It's only a 30-page book, and so I just printed off PDF about Albert Einstein because I think we've all been hoodwinked by Einstein, and we got lots of naysayers on that guy who I've never taken the time to read, but I am now. You know what I'm saying? But I got so much reading. There's so much that is of interest, and it just piles up and piles up and piles up. It's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? So the issue that you have to do is find, and the reason I think it's important, because I did a video the other day of the craziness of the Chicago expositions and how it just is fake. Now the exposition itself wasn't fake, but how that came to be is fake. And I posted a video. It didn't get a huge amount of views, but it got 1,000, something like that. And Cindy had posted, because man, I went down that rabbit hole. This is crazy. I said, I know. And that's a pretty good purpose to have, is to awaken people into the rabbit holes that exist out there, how you've been awakened. Now, I don't know what it is for you, you know what I'm saying? But I've been awakened, and I want to awaken other people up to awaken other people up. That makes sense. That's a big purpose. Will that be my purpose 4 years from now? I have no clue. Jackie's purpose, Fritz is beautiful, is to take these dogs in and make sure that they go to good families like mine. Like there's Finny right there. Will that be her purpose 4 years now? Probably, you know what I'm saying? Because once a dog lover, forever a dog lover. But I don't know. Fritz's purpose might not be doing blog as much. I have no idea. It might be friggin' because he likes to do woodworking, building dog cages or so. I don't know. Dog cages, dog houses. Snoopy. All right. Focus on others over self, 100%. By definition, our working years are primarily dedicated to self. That all changes in retirement. While we've earned our freedom, there are countless others that are still held in bondage, barely scraping by, dealing with a health issue, challenged with emotional problems, struggling with parents, worried about the next meal, feeling alone and helpless. Those people are all around. And it hasn't been your practice to take notice, but start paying attention. I found a best path to a great retirement is to practice the art of focusing on others. If you start paying attention, you'll quickly see the needs around you. So let me give you an example of this and how easy it is to get distracted. So I had some downtime last night. I forgot where my wife went, and I was into a thing I'm reading, a book, and my wife went someplace, and all of a sudden she called Liam and said, Liam, tell Dad to go outside, take Finney outside because our neighbor's dog, Kona, as I talked about yesterday, the video, is lost, and let's see if he's out back, and take Finney out there to kind of to sniff for him because Finney's a hound. I was like, man, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I just sat down. Had my cup of tea. I'm like, I'm just ready to read. It's quiet. You know what I'm saying? Liam's downstairs. Kevin was upstairs. The girls are out, because they're in college. And I was like, and then I got to go outside. And I'm just, remember, my first thing was, I don't want to do that. Kona's an old dog. Who cares? And then Liam said, Dad, Mom, have you, he said, I can't remember what he said. It wasn't like, you got to do it. Just like, hey, maybe we could take, and then he said, maybe we can take Pablo out there too. He was more inclined to help than I was, if that makes sense. And I said, dude, I remember when Pablo was lost, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't for long, but I remember how heartbroken I was thinking, what if I lost Pablo? Now, Pablo came back, obviously, but and I never forget, I said, man, and then thinking about their kids, because they got two young kids, like losing a dog they've had for their whole life. Anyway, so I was able to, friggin' set my asshole aside and go help these people, and it made me feel good. And ultimately, they gave us because a couple of the neighbors helped. We walked around the neighborhood, drove around a couple other neighborhoods, the whole thing. And it turns out Kona had hid herself in their pantry. And somehow they had closed the pantry without knowing Kona was in there. It's kind of funny. Kona's this old, raggedy, 14, 15-year-old golden retriever who doesn't see, doesn't hear. So it wasn't like he was like, hey, I'm over here, guys. But it's a dog that you could see in our neighbors, the woman, you could just see, and actually both the husband and the wife, they were just devastated. The idea of losing this dog, devastated. Not to have health would have been just one of the most absurd, asshole-ish things I could possibly do. Selfish things I could possibly do. The idea that even hit me still today ticks me off. I'm like, dude, how could you think like that? And they were so appreciative of our, futility that they gave us a bottle of wine and a card and just thanks so much. I'm like, man, you would have done the same for me. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, focus on others. It's not easy to do, especially when you're like, man, like I think in C.S. Lewis, he talks about it. Like the woman, his mom or something like that. All I wanted was a tea that was made the way I like it. I don't ask for much to help. And and that's the devil's work. Being selfish is the devil's work. Retirement can be the best time of your life. Most of us have some anxiety about retirement. While it's true that retirement increases the odds of depression by 40%, where's that from? I'll have to look into that a little bit. I'm not challenging my man Fritzy here. I just wonder, that's interesting because I wonder what that study is based on. I might have to dive into that a little bit deeper because I want to see the study because I don't know that to be true. Maybe it's true. I don't know. I'm again not challenging Fritz. I just want to dive deep in that because some of these studies leave a lot to be desired, if you know what I'm saying. The fact that you're reading a retirement blog is a great sign that you won't be among those who suffer. You're thinking about retirement. You're planning for it, and you're trying to learn as much as you can. The high correlation between those who have a good retirement and the steps they took leading up to it was how much time someone put into planning for it. Yeah, I can see that. If you're retired by force because you're put out to pasture because they're old, that will probably lead you to depression. From my experience, the thing I did most right was taking the time to really think about retirement in the 2 to 3 years before starting the crossing lane, before I crossed the starting line, 100%. Not just the financial stuff, but the stuff that really matters. Just scan through the 7 years of writing I've done on this blog, and you'll see I was thinking every step of the way. If someone asks me for retirement advice, I give them the same time every answer. Same answer every time, excuse me. Take as much time to think about what you want your life to become in retirement, then make a plan to get there. Yeah, 100%. As you're taking the time to think about, reflect on these lessons. All right. Good stuff, Fritz. Your lessons will be different than mine. There are no right or wrong answers. What lessons have you learned? So we got Dave at Accidental Fire. We got Steve Ark right in here. Renee. G-Man with a master plan. We got Quentin Humberb. All right. Hey, the great thing about the internet, by the way, and blogging is that we don't have to rely on Quentin, whatever that guy's name, Cantrell or whatever, from the retirement, the Wall Street Journal retirement guy, or whatever it is. The guy with the glasses, I can't remember what his name is. His name's Quentin, something like that. We now have other people who aren't gatekeepers. I'm not bashing that guy from the Wall Street Journal. It's just like they have these gatekeepers. Jason Zweig, Quentin, that guy, Jonathan Clements, Susie Ormans and stuff. We don't have to rely on these gatekeepers. We can have real live people tell us real life stories about their real life retirement, and not from the hoity-toity perspective. I think it's fantastic. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is such a great article. Read it, think about it, ponder it, read the comments these people have written, and even put your own in there, because it's just fantastic, dudes. Have a plan, be positive, focus on others. There's really nothing more you can do, and be fluid, like he was saying. That doesn't mean 57 genders fluidity, but it just means be fluid. Adapt and overcome is what we said in the Army. I don't know what they said in the Marine Corps. You know what they said in the Marine Corps? Da, 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 da. In the Air Force, they say, oh, I can't get my hands dirty. In the Navy, they say, hi, handsome. Now, that's classic. I just came up with that. Love your thoughts. We'll see you.